Love afternoons.
Love Nick Coffer.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Wednesday afternoon, I hope you're well. I've got a great show today, including Kung Fu. Now, those of you thinking this will be great, Nick's going to get his head punched, you may be right. Now, Glenn Stanway is a martial arts teacher from Royston in Hertfordshire. After being asked countless times about the history of Kung Fu, he decided to investigate the origins himself. Glenn has travelled across the world to find out more and turned his discoveries into a book. Not only is he now an author, he's been on telly, taught gymnastics, starred in films. Well, talk about strings to your bow, Glenn. Are you going to hurt me?
I'll try and be gentle with you.
Please try and be gentle. I suffer from very sore thumbs and tendinitis, and, I get very stiff shoulders, and my back's not great. My legs aren't brilliant. Does that count me out of doing this?
No, not at all. Training might actually help you, and I actually started training because I was injured. I had a very bad car accident in 1994. I'd done a little bit of martial arts when I was about 12, and felt quite fit and flexible from doing it. So after basically being written off by the doctors and the physios, I thought, well, I'm only 22, 23 years old. I don't really sit at home being a cripple. There's something I must be able to do. So I took up training in martial arts, and it helped me recover from my injuries.
For me, Kung Fu, I think, was the first martial art I came across. And I'm going back 35 years. I'm thinking, Hong Kong Phooey and the Bruce Lee movies. Have I got that right? Was it really the first martial art to be cool?
I think so, yeah, because of the Bruce Lee thing, really. He was such an icon. He did the James Dean thing and died young as well. But he was the first... movie stars before were people like John Wayne and Steve McQueen, but this was a man who physically looked very impressive. So it was having a real-life Superman on the screen. And, of course, his skills that he used were genuine. There was no stunt double. He was, it was a genuine performance. So,
and everyone wanted to be him in the playground, which could cause its own form of problems, especially if you tried to recreate, breaking a plank or something without any skill training at all.
Well, they did. They made nunchucks, which was a favourite weapon of Bruce Lee's. It was the two pieces of wood joined together by a chain, and they made them illegal and banned the footage of them in a lot of films for a few years, not because people were hurting other people with them, but they were hurting themselves trying to practice with them.
Don't doubt it. What is the point of a martial art? I jokingly said, please don't hurt me. I'm sure you could if you wanted to, but what is the point of doing a martial art?
People take it up for various reasons. I took it up, like I say, as a form of exercise, but of course people do want to learn to defend themselves. Children come along to get more confident, or the parents bring them along to make them more confident, or to deal with things like bullying in schools. So there's various reasons, and there's lots of benefits to be had from a martial art, not just learning to fight. And in fact, really the essence of most martial arts is to avoid fighting. But you've got the skills that, if you ever did get into a desperate situation, you've got certain skills that will get you out of it.
Well, this book traces the history of Kung Fu and focuses notably on this Ho Yen... I'm pronouncing it, Ho Yen Jia?
Ho Yen Jia, yeah. In Cantonese, his name was Phuk Yin Gap. Ho Yen Jia is the generally accepted name.
Probably much more appropriate for radio. Moving swiftly on... he founded Kung Fu. What's the story behind it?
Well, he founded the Chin Wu School of Kung Fu in 1909. Basically, but back then in China, the Chinese were being oppressed by various European nations and the Japanese as well. And he realised that Kung Fu was not just useful for fighting, but, again, a good form of exercise. And they were being called the weak men of the East, or the sick man of Asia. So his doctrine was to strengthen the country, you must strengthen the people. So he invited the best masters he could and said, look, you mustn't keep this stuff secret, which was the tradition with martial arts then. We should share it with everyone and make them all fit and strong and healthy to show the world that we're not the weak men of Asia. We are strong, and we have good health and good strength and good skills.
I don't know how far back your history of Kung Fu itself goes in your own mind. I don't want to put you unduly on the spot, but how did they come into being in the very first place? What was the thinking behind it?
It was basically there's two forms really. There was family arts, so families would teach their sons and heirs certain styles to protect the family from bandits back in ancient times, and of course military training as well, which was the probably the more popular origin of a lot of martial arts. And then of course there was the Shaolin Temple, which very famously practiced Kung Fu, and also they actually they helped the ancient Chinese emperor in defending the country as well. So they had a very good reputation for their kung fu skills.
As well as the physical part of it, part of what I would associate with martial arts is the psychological benefits, the fact that it enables you to have a certain calmness of mind. How does that tally with the physicality of a martial art?
It's the way it's practiced is a lot of the techniques are actually very relaxed, and a couple of techniques I might try with you later. It's not really to do with aggression or strength.
You're going to hit
me. I might let you try and hit me. It's the techniques actually won't work very well if you are aggressive and trying to use strength. So sometimes it's better to be relaxed. And again, to avoid the confrontation in the first place. That's the kind of art of
this
things.
Really intrigues me. I think you've just got to the nub of it. Of course, if someone does attack you in the street, I guess the best way to get out of that attack is to have as cold blood as possible and think as clearly as possible in how to respond.
It's to be as calm and collected as possible, absolutely, yeah.
I have to be honest, I'd never thought of it that way around. I'd always imagined a martial art being an element of attack and almost, the fight or flight, the adrenaline that kicks in. But you're saying it's that very cold, calculated, calm, clear-thinking moment where you decide how you're going to do it.
I'm glad you said fight or flight, because it is a motor response almost in all humans, all mammals really, that you're learning to control through your training. And doing things like competitions, doing gradings where we test students, they're having that, not a major adrenaline release as if they've been suddenly attacked, but they're giving a pressure situation or made to feel nervous because they're doing a competition, and they're learning to control that adrenaline chemical reaction.
Well, I've very, very carefully chosen my music for you, Glenn, because I don't want you to be getting too pent up with some loud, heavy metal. I'm going to play you Orinoco Flow by Enya, just to ease us into this moment where we're going to do some kung fu here in the studio. Glenn Stanway is with us. He's written this book all about kung fu, and we're going to be trying some moves after Orinoco Flow.
Love beds, hearts and bugs.
Love Nick Coffer.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
In the studio here, feeling slightly concerned, I have to be honest. Glenn Stanway is standing next to me. Glenn, who is a martial arts expert, a kung fu expert. And Glenn, we're going to be doing some moves, aren't we? Who's going to hurt who?
We'll mix and match. We'll have I'll try and get out of something that you apply to me, and I'll then apply something to you and try and let you get out of it as well.
Now, remember, this is radio, okay?
Yep.
So there's no point in us just sort of grappling and just... We have to describe what we're doing very, very carefully. So I'm going to put you in something and you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, a lot of the moves in Kung Fu look a little bit flowery. Sometimes my wife sees me practising and says, you're practising your dancing out there. So I'm going to do something called a fan yao, which is a waist twist. It's basically you have your arms out to the side, you cross your legs and you uncross your legs by twisting. But it's basically...
It's a pirouette.
Effectively, yeah, but with your arms out to the side. But what you're learning is...
manly pirouette.
It is a manly pirouette, yeah. Shaolin pirouette. You're basically learning the principle of physics of using levers and rotations and pivots. So once you've got that theory in you, you don't need to be necessarily strong to defend yourself, which of course is useful if you're a small person.
You just have to be really intelligent and good looking and all of those things.
Good looks might help.
Thank you. You're very kind.
So what I'll do is it's very useful for if someone's got you in a bear hug. We can use it for different things, but a bear hug is a very good way to demonstrate the effectiveness of it. Are you?
I'm going to use it at home, aren't I?
You will probably. How strong do you think you are?
I am strong-ish.
Strong-ish. So I want you to grab me in a bear hug. If you just come round behind me and grab my arms as tight as you can.
This way. Glenn, who's clad in a very smart shirt and tie, I feel slightly unfair. How do you want me to grab you?
If you grab me as tight as you can in a bear hug.
Here we go, I'm squeezing.
Lovely. Can you go tighter?
I will try. Hold on, this is very intimate. There we go. How tight's that?
So in our fan now, I step to the side to pivot myself in the right place and to set up the right...
You're going to trip me up.
No, I'm not going to trip you up. I'm just going to get your arms off. And I'm just going to extend this arm out. So this is the lever.
I'm actually trying really hard to stop you here.
Now, in reality, I would do this very quickly. That is a good grip. That's very good. In reality, you do this very quickly, but if I do that, you'll go flying through the studio.
I don't want to fly.
But if I do it slowly, I can still break the grip.
Wow.
So, of course, when that happens very, very quickly, the person goes flying. And it's nothing to do with strength. I didn't apply any strength there. It was literally
what you did is you
operating a lever.
You levered me via your left arm and your right leg, it felt like.
Yeah, that's the pivot. And the lever breaks the grip because my arm is much longer than your fingers.
There's actually a very serious point here, which is that, if I'm walking down the street and someone tries to grab me from behind, beyond the benefits, the sporting benefits, this is serious self-defence.
Yeah, it's like I said, I trained for exercise, really, but of course I've got this massive benefit of I have a lot of self-defence skills. Thankfully, I've only ever had to use them twice, and once really was a restraining technique.
Both with your wife?
So, no, but thankfully, no.
Are you going to do something to me now?
Yes, and
okay.
Again, using
Don't hurt me.
The same principle.
Okay.
So if I'll grab your wrist with this hand because I haven't got any rings or anything in this hand.
Okay.
So if someone's got hold of you, if I've got a serious
nice to meet
grip
you.
There,
yeah.
If I pull to take you with me, if you pull back,
yeah,
we're just going up in a
it's
bit of an arm
a
wrestle.
bit silly. Yeah,
so
you're pushing and pulling.
What I would do is just go with my pull.
What do you mean go with your pull?
So as I pull my arm back, your arm travels in the same direction.
All right, like driving into a skid.
Yeah, just relax.
Yeah.
Just relax. Now I want you to extend your fingers and twist your little finger round to my little finger. So
okay, yeah.
And you're going to just go rotate round. Is it rotate round? Oh, sorry, against my wrist.
Okay, am I basically trying to slither out here?
That's it. And keep pushing, push harder.
Oh, I got you, okay.
And I can't hold on. Now, again, if that happens very quickly, there's nothing I can do. And if I hold both your hands, if you both... that's it, or the other way's better.
Have I passed?
If you go to the outside of the hand, so rotate round and push.
What I'm learning here is there's actually a lot of very simple biomechanics in Kung Fu.
Yep.
And what you've just shown me now, I'll try and describe it again, is instead of... your natural instinct, if you grabbed hold of my hands, although my natural instinct would be, why are you grabbing hold of my hands? This is a radio studio. But if you grabbed hold of my hands, my natural instinct would be to pull away. But of course, in effect there, you're in what I would call a sailorman's grip. That's how I would actually pull you up from being on the floor. So by just pulling away, like you say, we're going to have a sort of a how to do, you pulling one way and me the other. I'm actually then, it's almost counterintuitive. I'm doing the reverse to what I would imagine doing, but by levering, I'm preventing you from being able to get hold of me.
Again, it's learning the principle of the physics of the move, and again, when you see a lot of the kung fu routines, the moves don't always make sense, and sometimes they're exaggerated as well. But it's to learn that principle, the principle of using a lever, using a rotation. So again, you don't have to rely on your strength to get yourself out of a sort of bad situation.
I'm now back in the safety of my seat. I actually really enjoyed that. And I'm particularly interested in the fact that you say that this is very good for the mind, very good for the body, and you can do the splits at 41 years old?
Yeah, I can. Would you like me to do it between two chairs or just on the floor?
No, do it between two chairs. Here we go. I'm a bit worried here because I should point out that Glenn is wearing some very smart grey trousers. If you hear a rip, then you kind of know what's gone wrong here. Glenn is lining up two chairs. I'm just going to lean over towards you. Oh, my word, he's... here we go. Oh, my word, he really has split across. That is so impressive. So we got a chair... they're about 3 feet apart. Glenn, I feel really, really sort of slightly faint seeing you do that.
It's not that painful because I've been doing it for so long. All I'm doing is when anyone stretches me, they'll feel a little bit of pain, but I've been doing it for that much longer. I've increased my range of motion. When I started training, like I say, I started with an injury and I couldn't even touch my toes. So with the right kind of training and regular stretching, I'm able to now do that from cold.
The particularly bendy Glenn Stanway has been regaling me with his Kung Fu stories. Glenn, where can we find you if any of my listeners fancy coming along to one of your classes? I should say you're a particularly nice chap, so I would imagine that your classes would be very warm, very friendly, very welcoming. Where do you work out of?
I'm based in Royston. I've got a couple of classes a week. I teach traditional classes for kids and adults, the traditional Kung Fu. I also teach kickboxing as well. Which I teach purely as a sport and for fitness as well. The best place is on my website, gmax.me.uk, which has got a list of all the classes and lots of information about what I teach and what I do as well.
That's gmax, G-M-A-X, gmax.me.uk. I'd be tempted to come along to one of your classes.
You're very welcome.
I have to say, I might have to bring a little microphone with me to record my pain, but I could see myself quite enjoying it because I don't like contact sports, but I can see this is much more about suppleness and intelligence and having your wits about you and just keeping a very, very calm mind.
Yeah. And I try to to make the classes fun, because if you're going to go through all that sweating and huffing and puffing, you may as well enjoy it.
Glenn, I really did enjoy it. Thanks a lot for coming in, and I wish you luck with the book and with your class as well.
Thank you.
Enjoyed that a lot. Really enjoyed my time with Glenn Stanway. I have to say, it seems like the kind of sport that I would enjoy taking up.